Sue Barker has made quite a name for herself in the world of tennis. Recently, with Serena and Federer hanging up their boots and retiring from the game, many have been curious about who the real GOAT is. But to clear up the air, Sue has offered her 2 cents on the topic. Let's talk about what the legendary presenter wants the AELTC to do for Roger. Stay tuned for all this and more, starting with Sue Barker's demand. Roger Federer is unparalleled in tennis. The 20-time Grand Slam winner is one of the 3 best players of all time. Throughout his career, Federer stayed true to the essence of the gentleman's game. As a result, there has been a continuous debate among fans about how to honor his legacy the right way. And while fans think about the best way to give their love to Roger, a very famous Legendary Wimbledon presenter has an idea. An avid fan of Federer who has been following his every move on the London grass courts has lately made a special request on his behalf. Last week on BBC Radio 5, Sue Barker, a former host for the BBC's Wimbledon coverage, discussed whether Federer had received his due. Barker, who has been in the majors for close to 3 decades, has seen all the magic Federer has shown to the world through his game. She thinks the All England Tennis Club should break with precedent and name something after him. Sue said, "They've only really done things for British champions, but I hope they do something." The 66-year-old suggested changing the name of the locker room or some other portion of the clubhouse to honor Federer's Wimbledon legacy. The presenter also added that she hopes the club will pay a fitting tribute to him soon. Up next, she's very passionate about the idea. If you think Sue's just randomly pitching ideas, you've got it wrong. The woman is very passionate, and she really wants the authorities to give Federer the love that he deserves. How do we know this? Well, wait till you hear what she says next. If Barker were in charge, she'd definitely be pushing to honor his career with a ceremony at Wimbledon, she added. Now, if you consider all that Roger has done for the sport, you can't really blame her. For men's singles, Federer holds the record with 8 tournament victories, with 7 SW19 titles each. Pete Sampras and Novak Djokovic are tied for 2nd place, so he obviously deserves this tribute and many others. Not forget, Sue gives her opinion on the GOAT debate. Tennis fans from all around the globe have strong opinions on who they think should be recognized as the sport's greatest of all time. But there's a lot of controversy about the criteria used to make that decision. The matter has been brought back into the spotlight in recent weeks after Roger Federer's tearful retirement and his farewell acceptance alongside old nemesis Rafa at the Laver Cup in London. Roger Federer won 20 Grand Slam singles championships during his career, placing him 3rd on the all-time list after Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal. Barker, winner of the 1976 French Open singles title and later the leader of the BBC's Wimbledon coverage for 30 years, says she has a special place for one guy in this discussion. At a book signing for her memoir, Calling the Shots, Barker said her favorite tennis player to watch is Roger Federer. She said that all of us have been lucky to see this fantastic age of the sport, and all 3 talented players will go down in history as legends of the game. Next, she zeroed in on her favorite. According to Sue, what Nadal has accomplished at the French Open with his 14 victories is extraordinary, and Djokovic has a good chance of finishing with the most Grand Slam titles. However, the presenter went on to say that when she sees Federer play, she realizes how difficult the game is. He was an exceptional role model for young people, and his worldwide fame is unparalleled. For the last 2 decades, he has been chosen as the most beloved player, and it seems like that's why Sue still has a soft spot for him too. Looks like we're all clear on the GOAT debate from Sue's end. 1 point for Raj. Plus, another expert backs Federer. Ronnie, the Rocket O'Sullivan, a snooker legend, has said that tennis players Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer are among the greatest of all time, in his opinion. Even though he has won won 7 snooker world titles, 7-time champion Ronnie O'Sullivan prefers tennis. He was quizzed about his all-time greats during his visit to the Eurosport studio. For him, Tiger Woods, Roger Federer, and Novak Djokovic are the ones at the very top of the food chain. And the fact that O'Sullivan is a huge fan of Djokovic and Federer should come as no surprise, considering how talented the two athletes are. After Federer's retirement, O'Sully even sent him a heartfelt tribute, calling him a huge influence and praising his unbelievable career. Moving on to other news. First up, a Russian tennis player calls out Ukrainians. Anastasia Gasanova, a professional tennis player, has been showing off her Russian patriotism and even attacking Ukrainians on social media, while many of her fellow countrymen in the sport have been asking to get naturalized as citizens of Kazakhstan or other countries. Now, she has uploaded a film to tell the tale of her time in Odessa as a talented tennis player who was forced to leave the city because of her ethnicity. She began by mentioning that she has been discussing this with her friends too. According to the Russian, her family was compelled to flee Ukraine. Eyewitnesses claim that members of the Ukrainian armed forces murdered civilians just because they spoke Russian. And after May 2nd, 2014, you can't wear anything associated with the Russian national team without risking an unprovoked gunfight, which did not sit well with the athlete. Gasanova also refers to the recent collapse of the Kerch Strait Bridge that connected Russia and Ukraine. God didn't give them brains, unfortunately, Gasanova added. Why are they so happy if they want to take back Crimea? Breaking is not building. The tennis star further mentioned that she called a coup in Ukraine in 2014. She further said that ever since those incidents, Western media has been misrepresenting what has been happening in the area. The president, Viktor Yanukovych, allegedly left the nation after being threatened with death, but she maintained that's not how it happened. Moving on,
Nick Kyrgios
is back at it with roasting his opponents.
Nick Kyrgios
has continued his verbal attack on Stefanos Tsitsipas' mother with a sly Instagram post. The Australian's antics didn't sit well with his Greek competitor Tsitsipas, who lost in a 4-set match following a tense encounter with
Kyrgios
at this year's Wimbledon. According to Tsitsipas' mother, Julia Apostoli, her son's defeat resulted from his refusal to play dirty tennis like
Kyrgios.
In fact, she went on to say that Stefanos was actually almost offered to play dirty, and that's an offer he refused to take up, which is why he stormed out of the court. Julia continues that her son just doesn't play like that, and when he saw his opponent being aggressive, he lost his temper in the heat of the moment, resulting in one of the most tense tennis matches the world has ever seen. The friendship between
Kyrgios
and Tsitsipas has thawed only a little over the years. While they had previously engaged in a social media spat, it looked that the spat had been put to rest when the two players partnered up in doubles at the Washington Open in 2019. But when Tsitsipas lost in the 4th round, he called the Australian a bully and evil, and their relationship quickly deteriorated. As for why
Kyrgios
thinks the match is all about him, he said, "I think he's making that match about me. Like he's got some serious issues. Like serious." Also, he said Tsitsipas was not liked among his teammates. Finally, a win for Norrie. Cameron Norrie beat Aslan Karatsev of Russia in the round of 16 in the Stockholm Open, marking his comeback to competition. The top-ranked Briton had to fight back from a set down to win 6-7, 8-10, 6-3, 6-4 at the Korea Open last month because of sickness. The 27-year-old is fighting to make it into the ATP Finals at the season's finale. Davis Cup teammate Dan Evans overcame Constant Lestienne of France 6-2, 6-1 to go to the quarterfinals of the European Open in Antwerp. To make the ATP Finals in Turin, Italy in November, Norrie has committed to take part in 5 events in 6 weeks as part of a huge push to crack the top 7 in the world. Plans to play American Jensen Brooksby in the quarterfinals of the Korea Open were thwarted when the world number 12 withdrew less than an hour before the match. After defeating Kaiichi Uchida of Japan 6-2, 6-2 in the previous round, Norrie stated he was suffering from jet lag. The next week, he could not compete in the Japan Open, and when he finally returned to action during the European indoor season, he was given a tough match by Karatsev. At 5-4 and 6-5, Norrie ultimately ended up losing the tiebreak and the match all at once. But things are finally looking up for him. That's a wrap for this video. So, what do you think of Sue's tribute plan for the Swiss maestro? Let us know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.